information efficiently. However, I was good at calculations that did not involve mugging up. But as my parents' punishments became more severe, I rebelled. I purposely skipped classes and hung out at the playground. I would load my exam papers with silly jokes and song lyrics to irritate them even more. They grounded me by keeping me in a basement with my books and releasing me only when I finished my courses. On weekends and vacations, I was not permitted to play outside. All of my video games and comics were seized, and new ones were never purchased. But I was a bright kid. Whatever they did, I managed to sneak out. My parents left for the grocery shop in the morning and only returned at night, so I spent the entire day playing outside. When my parents discovered that I was sneaking away in their absence, they began accompanying me to the store on weekends and during summer vacations. It was supposed to be a punishment for me, but it turned out to be something I rather enjoyed. I like interacting with customers, advising them on which cereal brand to buy, and managing the billing counter. This did not go over well with my parents. They did not want me to operate the grocery store. They wanted me to be a doctor or an engineer. Anything less than that would bring shame to an Asian household. One day, I casually mentioned that I wanted to be a salesman because I'm good at closing deals. My parents were appalled to hear this because they believed that only ignorant people worked in sales. Since they are spending so much money on my schooling, I should do a respectable career, such as a doctor or engineer. All of this continued until I pushed all of their buttons by receiving an F grade in my first year of high school. My parents couldn't believe I had to repeat a year. They were finished with their punishment. They blew right on my face as if I had committed a horrific crime. There was nothing left to punish me. Except for beating me, they appeared to have done everything they could to get me back on track. The verbal abuse and mental suffering reached their peak. They stated I brought shame to the house and they couldn't bear the embarrassment I caused the family. They threw me out of the house, telling me I was on my own and should never return home, even if I perished from starvation and cold. I was devastated. Though I was a notorious child, I never considered running away from home. I was not prepared for this. My parents didn't allow me to mingle, so I didn't have many friends to seek support. I was either tied up at home or taken to the grocery store to help out. When the first terror of living on the street subsided, I felt liberated. I felt so relieved to be able to do whatever I wanted. My first night, I slept on a bench in an open park. The next day, I headed downtown looking for a sales position. I knew I was good at selling. I went from store to store, asking if they had any openings. After applying at over a dozen businesses, I got a position at a beauty store. It wasn't simple either. I had no qualifications or prior experience, but the store owner needed a staff member right away, so he assigned me the responsibility of selling a pricey lipstick as an add-on to a customer who was only there for night cream. I am not sure how, but I was able to do it. The owner thought I was passionate and attractive enough to sell makeup to young women, so he hired me. The money was poor, but he provided a place to sleep. Later, as sales soared, I requested a commission on each transaction I made. That was the start of my path to become a successful businessman. My parents thought that forcing me to work at their grocery store was a punishment. They had no idea it would be so beneficial to me. It offered me real-world experience. I wish they had recognized my potential and understood that practical experience is far more valuable than mindlessly blasting theoretical stuff. After that, I changed employment to get a better wage. One of my employers even offered to cover my education tuition, but I declined. I had something else in mind. I wanted to establish my own business. At the age of 21, I founded my own company, which offers support and sales services to other small enterprises. My company closes sales for other product-based businesses. We produce sales and revenue for them, and they give us a high commission. My company's initiatives span all product categories, from credit cards to insurance, cosmetics, and books. We have business relationships with a variety of companies. It did not explode in a day or a year. It took more than 5 years to become stable. I started it with 5 staff and 1 client, selling mattresses and pillows. We now have 200 sales agents who help 50-plus companies sell thousands of products. Enough of this nonsense. Coming to the point, my mother has been pursuing me for the past few weeks. She's started following me on Facebook and Instagram. I have an open account, and she is browsing through my profile, loving my old photos and posts. I'm not sure if she's attempting to draw attention to herself or if she's zooming in on my image by accident. One thing is certain. They are mesmerized by my lifestyle. They thought I was a loser who would never be able to achieve anything in life without decent grades. But here I am, earning 6 figures per month. A week ago, she texted me stating she missed me and invited me to come home. I saw her message and marked her as seen. She is praising me and expressing how glad she is to see her son succeed in life. She is now pressing me to pay her a visit. Despite my efforts to disregard her messages, I couldn't stop thinking about them and my childhood trauma. I really want to return it to them for all of the shame they've caused me. I want to go home and show them how successful I am. However, my fiancée believes that I should avoid them and not become entangled in their emotional web. She believes that they will eventually use guilt to extort money from me. What do you all think I should do? Update number 1. Hello everyone. This is going to be hilarious. Despite my girlfriend's objections, I wanted to show off my achievement to my parents, so I visited them. Dad was not home, but Mom and sister were waiting for me. Dad is still unaware of my success. He believes I'm getting money by duping innocent people and does not want to be linked with me. Mom apologized to me and said that I had to suffer because of Dad's old school ideals about getting good marks for life. It was hilarious how Mom used Dad as a scapegoat while also abusing me. I mentioned that she was stricter in penalizing me. She brushed it off, claiming she was simply following Dad's orders as a dutiful wife. When I tried to put her on the spot again, she laughed out loud and said it was a century-old story, and I should go on, and we should reconnect as a happy family, it seems. I inquired about my sister's life. She stated that she had a master's degree in literature but is having difficulty finding work as a teacher due to weak communication and social skills. Though I recognized the cause for her terrible people skills, I pretended to be intrigued and asked her why she couldn't get a job despite her outstanding scores. She blamed our parents for her failures. She has essentially spent her whole life imprisoned in a room, studying to please and impress our parents. She pushed herself to the limit and completely lost herself in the literature. She was a year older than me, and I knew how solitary she used to be at school. She hardly had any pals. Mom refused to let her have any because she believed that white children were poor students and a terrible influence. Do you spot an issue here? Despite working so hard her entire life, she is unable to get work. Even if she is hired based on her qualifications, her lack of communication and social skills cost her the job. Seeing her state, I'm pleased I was a renegade. Otherwise, I would have met a similar end as her. They also wanted to keep me isolated, not allowing me to interact with other children and instead focusing on my schoolwork. How incorrect were they? My sister joined me in criticizing my mother for her bad parenting abilities. Mom began sobbing and very cleverly transferred all of the responsibility onto Dad. After we finished blaming Mom for our horrible childhood, I asked her why she contacted me. She went on and on telling me how delighted she was to witness my accomplishment. The truth was, she had no idea what I was doing. As I previously stated to an Asian parent, the definition of success is a doctor, engineer, or a high-paying position in a bank, at the very least. They don't comprehend entrepreneurship. To them, running any business is synonymous with running a grocery shop, which they despise. Sitting in that house brought back so many memories from my childhood, when my parents convinced me that I would end up on the streets as a loser. They even tricked me into believing that I was mentally unfit and that there was something wrong with me that prevented me from scoring an A+. Oh, I forgot to mention it. My parents even took me to a therapist because they thought I had trouble focusing on my studies. After 2 to 3 sessions, the therapist chastised my parents for excessively pressuring me to study, claiming that I was a perfectly normal child with a typical IQ for my age. My girlfriend betted that my mother had invited me to ask for money. She lost the bet because Mom did not ask for any money, but her behavior indicates that a money demand is on its way. Since then, my mother has been continuously checking on me, and any time her text message appears, my girlfriend places a $1 bet that it is about money. LOL. I'm winning every single bet because Mom hasn't requested the money yet. But I believe I'm about to lose the wager because Mom has invited me to dinner this weekend. I know she's attempting to construct a positive image of herself before asking for anything. I just got a text from her saying she is planning a dinner for me this weekend. I will provide an update in my next post. I have to rush right now.